Hello everybody and welcome back to the Library of Ruina. By the way, did my voice crack through that, or was that just me imagining that? Because I'm pretty sure that my voice just completely cracked. Little embarrassing, but oh well. So, back to our regularly scheduled program. After the sparring session of the previous episode, we are going to continue taking out some of these tough little receptions that we have waiting for us. By the way, next episode, we're officially, this time for really reals, going to go after Distortion Detective, but I kind of wanted to clean up our general reception list for now. So we resume our adventure. Actually, you know what? Yes, I'd beat the previous one. It's HOGS' turn. Page of Penumbra? Penumbra. Immersed in conflict. 900 health, 350 stagger resist. Endured to physical slash and stagger blunt. Tenebrous Purpura. You're really testing my pronunciation in this one, aren't you? Untransferable. At the start of the act, gain 15 Conflicting Violet. Gain 1 Fragment of Eternal Night every time this character spends 20 Conflicting Violet. So it's effectively charge. Colored Arcs. Untransferable. Every scene, randomly mark Crimson or Cyan to self and 2 to 3 pages in hand. Marked pages spend 20 less Conflicting Violet. Okay. If all marked pages are used, restore 1 light and draw 1 page at the end of the scene. Has access to a unique ego. Tempestissimo. Untransferable. Again. For every clash 1, gain 3 Conflicting Violet. For every 3 clashes lost, gain 6 Conflicting Violet. Upon killing a target, gain 1 Strength, 1 damage up, and 15 Conflicting Violet in the next scene. Gain 2 Speed in odd number scenes. Random addition, but okay. Howling Conflict. Untransferable again, by the way. Upon winning a clash, recover HP and stagger resist by half of the die's roll. Ugh. If the character recover 10 or more HP in a single scene, gain 1 strength, 1 endurance, and 2 haste next scene. At 3+ Fragment of Eternal Night, counter dice additionally gain +1 minimum and maximum values. A harmony of colors. If this character fails to hit with any marked page, lose 100 stagger resist at the end of the scene, gain 2 bind, and inflict 2 haste on all librarians next scene. When using a page with color, if target has the same color, all dice on this page lose 2 power. Otherwise, all dice gain +5 power. If HP is lower than 2, changes effect. Oh boy. So you also have a second phase. Gotcha. Crimson and Cyan. Summon Cyan and Crimson at... hey, we have that. At the start of the act, at start of each scene, if no summoned unit and the unit who has Cyan and Crimson effect, summon Cyan and Crimson again. Remove this passive if HP is lower than 2. Immersed in conflict. When using a page against a target with a different color from self, apply the color on self to them. Whenever a character has both Crimson and Cyan, purge them and inflict miss for 2 scenes. Okay, challenge. Upon killing a target with Crimson, Cyan, or Miss, fully recover stagger resist and gain 5 strength and endurance next scene. And that's on top of your passive, where if you kill someone, you gain 1 strength and endurance. The Approaching Shadow. At the start of the scene, it's shimmering. At the start of the act, gain 3 Fragment of Eternal Night. Use a powerful page every 2 scenes. Every 2 scenes, act before 8. Okay, so 2, 4, and 6, you use a powerful page, and then 8+, it's different, I guess? Alright. Silent Night. Take 4 damage, restore 1 light. On hit, gain 5 conflicting violet and draw 1 page. Despairing purple. On use, take 4 damage, restore 2 light, draw 1 page. On hit, gain 3 conflicting violet and a counter dice that does the same. Explosive violet. Hits an additional target for every 45 conflicting violet. On use, take 10 damage and stagger damage. On hit, gain 8 conflicting violet. Conflicting violet has effects when gained or spent. On hit, inflict 1 feeble disarm and bind next scene, and this counter die changes to the type the target is weakest to. Spinning Shaded Slash. Hits an additional target for every 45 conflicting violet, deals 1% more damage and stagger damage for every conflicting violet up to 50. If this hits the main target 3 times, conflicting violet does not reduce at the end of the scene. On Clash Win, destroy all dice on target's page. On hit, this die hits target an extra time for every 30 conflicting violet up to 2. Ominous Cackling Wind. Combat start, spend 60 conflicting violet to gain an effect. When inflicting negative status by combat pages at this scene, inflict double the stack. On use, take 25 damage and stagger damage. On hit, inflict 1 feeble disarm and bind, and a counter dice that does 1 bind and paralysis. And finally, Crushing Sorrow. Combat start, wait. Purge 3 random status ailments on self, take 15 damage and stagger damage. On hit, gain 15 conflicting violet. On hit at next scene, gain 1 strength and gain double stack when gaining conflicting violet. This counter die changes to whatever they're weakest to and gain 5 conflicting violet. We are also allowed 3 floors for this one. Well then, shall we begin? Oh, you have no idea what type of bleeding thorn is about to be in your side. Here we go. Wow, you debuff our stuff extraordinarily heavily? Whoa. Okay, Mannequin going down from Hod. We do end up landing it. Tail Whisk coming down from Hod as well. Thorn of Desire. Unfortunately, not quite working out for us. That's fine. Enhanced Thorns, getting a one-sided attack and dealing quite a bit of damage before we begin. Sadist coming down from Sheeta, dealing quite a bit of bleed and damage as well. Maintain the line. That way we draw. Okay, both of the swords have now died. And we do have colors. At least I believe. No, we have Miss. But why do we have Miss? Because we clashed with the swords, so I thought that we had... Okay. I'm not gonna pretend I understand that. Well, so you're gonna be hyper buffed. Unfortunately, we really don't have much of an option, so I kinda have to just soak the damage here because you're far too fast. Also, the swords appear to have given you quite a bit of stats as well. And this mass individual appears to have quite the powerful dice for turn 2. But, you know, what do I know? Perhaps this is a bit of my own medicine, as some might say. Well, let's go ahead and have some fun. Although, with +3 power, and it rolls anywhere from 9 to 13, I don't think we're going to win this clash. I'm gonna be honest with you. We can spend 10 bleed, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. We can go for Garden of Thorns, which has a pretty good chance to win, and then we can go for Getting High, because why not? Okay, absolutely 135 damage to Crimson, 147 damage to Sheeta. Um? Okay. Huh. 10 strength? We're dead. There's literally no outplaying that. The amount of damage that we're about to take is actually non-negotiable. We can certainly try and reduce it, but let me show you how that's gonna go. Oh my! Wait, hang on a minute. What did she just roll on that defensive dice? Was that 20? What was the base roll? So it's +6 from endurance. We didn't have the right color, so I imagine that's +5. But how were we even supposed to get the correct color? Because... oh. Now let me go ahead and just read these passives one more time. Seize your time. At the end of the scene, die and inflict 1 strength, endurance, and haste on Penumbra. And this one does the same. And then you also have 1 strength and endurance because of... why exactly? Also, did you take any flat damage? I wasn't paying close enough attention. I don't know if you were taking any flat damage. So what passive is it that gets her 1 strength and endurance? It is... not Tempestissimio. If you recovered enough health, you gain... okay, but you didn't recover any health, so it's not that one. If you fail to hit anyone with a marked page, lose 100 stagger resist. Well, what the heck is a marked page? We don't have any marked pages. Do we? No. Okay. So it's not that. When using a page with color, if target has the same color, all dice on this page lose 2 power, otherwise all dice gain +5 power. So there's nothing we can do about that. Because we can't get your color until turn 2, but then you inflict us with miss because you hit us. Oh. Summon Cyan and Crimson. If they weren't summoned, summon anyway. When using a page against a target with a different color from self, apply the color on self to them. But you have both. Whenever a character has both, purge them and inflict miss. So you just hitting us immediately gives us both, which is then purged, which then gives us miss. And miss basically makes it so we're mass debuffed. And you're also hyper buffed if you kill someone with that. Okay, let it roll. Lock. You blocked some of our damage? What part of the passive did you get a block from? Also, what is happening to our defensive dice? A 1 roll? That's absurdly low. Also, where did all that damage come from? Dude, I don't even know what's happening. I read all of the passives, and I still do not know what is going on. Like, I don't understand the passives. Or, apparently, I don't understand the passives. I read them. I don't know that I understood what the heck. Now, okay, something I noticed. You just keep conflicting Violet forever. And that's also where you're getting the shield. Okay, conflicting Violet is where you're getting the shield. So that's where you're getting the block. And you got more strength because you got a kill. And we're also inflicted with miss, which is when we're hit by Penumbra, Penumbra's dice gain power by 3 and increase the minimum and maximum value by 3. Penumbra increase speed by 5. Penumbra will priority select self as target. Penumbra will use mass attack page at this scene. All dice reduce value by 5. Right. So we're just dead here again, right? I think I'm understanding that pretty correctly. Like, we are just straight up dead. Also, you attempted to do damage to yourself, but completely ignored it. Aha. So let's remember, 190. She has 190. Let's remember that. Okay, so she has 95. So she doesn't keep all of it. Oh, wait a minute. Fragment of Eternal Night, max of 12, counts as 15 conflicting Violet. So she has 45... I don't know, quick math. She has 130, effectively. Okay. Well, didn't quite kill it, so she is still gonna get that buff, unfortunately for us. Our second attack on Grapes just got ignored? Wait a minute, why did we lose our second attack on Grapes? Okay. Right? Uh-huh. Am I losing my mind, or is she just kind of pulling mechanics out of her? Like, I feel like something is real odd here. So, okay, wait a minute. So her pages that can hit multiple people, that counts per dice? Because she hit Angela, and then the next attack suddenly it became an AoE. And the attack after that, it remained an AoE. So its individual dice is what Conflicting Violet counts for? Also, we have Cyan and... but she only has Cyan. So, theoretically, if we clash her with our Cyan pages, we win, I think? And then if we do nothing on Grapes, that's the play, because you don't have the right colors. I don't know, I guess we'll go for Ferocious Blades and a Unity Bolster and just hope for the best? But it didn't matter, because she still just killed us with the mass attack, so... what's the point of the colors? I don't get it. I don't get it. I feel like this is a skill issue, but at the same time, I also feel like mechanics are literally being pulled out of nowhere. Hang on. You're coming with me. We're gonna go through this again. So, there is something I'm missing here. Is it per card? No. Nothing about... oh, here it is. Hits an additional target for every 45 conflicting Violet. Now, that is not part of the on use. That's also not part of the on hit. So I guess that just kind of happens. So she hits you, she gains 8, and if that puts her over 45, she then gets to hit somebody else with the next die. That's a unique mechanic. I don't think that's ever really been done anywhere. And then this hits an additional target for every 45. If it hits a main target 3 times. Uh-huh. Now, okay, it says Conflicting Violet does not reduce at the end of the scene. However, I didn't notice it reducing at all. So I don't know what the point of that passive is, because it seems like she already doesn't do that. Spend 60 Conflicting Violet. Right, so Ominous Cackling Wind and Spinning Shaded Slash. If they're used in the same turn, effectively she spends nothing. but its combat start. Purge 3 random status elements on self, take some damage. Right. But then you basically can't get hit turn 1 at all? Or rather, you have to target the swords with one person and her with the other, which opens you to being attacked for free, which then leads her to getting charge, which then leads her to getting AoE attacks, which then leads to everybody dying because she gets charged because of an unopposed AoE attack that you can't stop. And unless you very specifically know the mechanic where if she gets enough during her rolls, she gets to go again. Right. Okay. And then for every clash one, she gets 3. For every 3 clashes lost, she gains 6. Uh-huh. If she recovers, she gets a bunch of buffs. At 3+ fragments, she gains +1 minimum maximum. If she fails to hit with any marked page. Now, how do we know that she has a marked page? We don't. Unless we can see her deck, and that's something that I've never known. We don't know which ones are marked. Now, hang on. I will benefit of the doubt. Let's go in. Let's see if we can actually see which ones are marked. Okay, let's look at her pages closely. Okay. We can see which ones are marked. We can actually see which ones are marked. Okay. Fair enough. So this is cyan. This is crimson, although it looks more purple to me, I'm gonna be honest. Okay. So you can see which ones are marked. Fair enough. She also, for some reason, does not have both marks this time. So was she not supposed to start with both marks? Was that a bug? Okay. So we get cyan. Oh, 2 health. That sucks. So we have cyan. She had an opposite. Man, our rolls just feel like they aren't happening. Okay, 3 to 7. She gets a 10. Different, dealing some good damage. You don't seem very debuffed from us having the same color. Again, I could be terribly misunderstanding something, but I feel like mechanics are just being pulled out of nowhere, or I'm not understanding them, or it was translated very poorly. I don't know. We're gonna take Despair, because trust you me, we're gonna get value out of it. She is only at +2 strength. Okay, so same color here, so we're gonna go for Clown Show. Although, well, it's not gonna clash, so we'll just, I guess, take the hits here. We'll go for Courageous Blow. We don't have the same color, so I'm gonna opt not to do anything. These have +1 power, so let's go ahead and try and clash, and then we'll just do some one-sided damage. We don't have miss, so I think we can clash safely. And then we'll go for multi-slash, because there's no hope we're going to win this clash anyway. Then we'll also go for unbeatable. Okay. Vertical slash coming down. Right, there's that, yeah. Right. Okay. Right. I'm definitely not understanding something. Something is not there's a switch and it is just not clicking. I'm trying to put my big boy smart cap on, and I just don't understand. I don't know. I really feel like I'm understanding the mechanics, but apparently I'm not, because it sort of just is destroying me, and there's really not a whole lot I can do about it. So I guess we lose. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. All right. It's time for the reception of the special HOGS. Starting with the cranked one. 150 health, 30 stagger resist, normal to absolutely everything, and only has speed +1. Cranking it! On use, gain 2 haste next scene. On clash win, give 1 haste on next scene. And then 1 to 12. Then he's got a fat joint. On use, gain 8 smoke. On hit, inflict 2 burn, and on clash win, inflict 2 more burn. And hog ready! On use, use 2 smoke to boost power of all dice on this page by +2. And then we have the swine. 71 health, random. 40 stagger resist, normal to everything. He has speed too. He is in fact faster than a motorcycle. He also has talent. The swine may cry. On use, gain 1 negative emotion point. 1 to 40 on hit, recover user's HP by the natural roll value. Okay. And on clash win, give 1 strength to 2 random allies next scene. And then triple flight of the swine. On use, deal 7 damage to self. All dice on this page deal +2 power. I don't know, boys. This one here might be dangerous. Super cool hog noise and swine noise. I like that. That's cool stuff. All right, well, let's see. He's doing Flight of the Swine, The Swine May Cry, and Flight of the Swine. Well, we've got just the thing. We know that our first dice is not going to work, so therefore, we're just going to let it ride. I'm going to go for impotence matching because hog riding is not going to work. Then we're going to go for non-conductor because who knows, maybe we'll win that clash, maybe we won't. That's the fun part. We're gonna go for icebreaker because we guaranteed win that. 1 to 40, more like one day you'll win the clash against us. Then we're gonna go for a multi-slash and finish it off with another icebreaker against fat joint. All right, here we go. Ouch, we did not win that clash. To be expected. But we knew that, and we were going into it fully prepared to win. You know what this reminds me of? This is a real Swine King and Wilbur situation. Impotence matching. Unfortunately, we do not win that clash, leaving us in absolute tatters, but we almost stagger. The Cranked one. Unfortunately for us, the Swine is able to get a stagger. Oh, most unfortunate indeed, but you know what they weren't expecting? It's called the 1,000 Miles Glacier. Then we can also go for a free attack. That'll get us a stagger. Induction generator. Oh, it wins every single time. Then we go for a voltage stable because guess what? The Swine May Cry never lands an attack ever. That's just how it goes. I don't make the rules. That's just the name of the game. Wait for it. What'd I tell you? It never lands. And here comes Swine May Cry. Oh, never mind. I guess the only thing you're gonna be crying about. Arigato, swine. Okay, yep. And you're dead. I just want you to feel bad. You feel that? Are you crying yet? You have a little bit of sinking. Does that count as tears? I bet you feel real dumb right about now, don't you? Fiddlesticks! And now we start to get serious. The drooling one 87 health, 16 stagger resist, normal to everything. He can use ranged pages, but he only has one speed. He also has on use if there are no pages in hand. Inflict 4 feeble, disarm, bind, and paralysis to all enemies this scene and the next scene. And the hairy one, 126 health, 20 stagger resist, normal to everything, 3 to 6 pages, and can only use ranged. Shedding. It's a pig over Joe. What is that anime called? Oh my god, I can't remember. JoJo! That's the one. And hair fling. On hit, inflict 5 fragile next scene. Yeah, okay. Hairy hog noise. Shall we show these hogs how it's done? I think we shall. What are they gonna do? Win a clash? I didn't think so. They're just gonna mass debuff us next turn. We rolled a whopping 1 on Sam, and this drooling hog is going to be turned into nothing but a delicious breakfast food. Unfortunately, we are debuffed for basically the entire reception, but does it matter? I don't think so. And you know why? Because we have sinking, because they're little cry hogs. We're gonna go for elation on Isabel, which is an absolutely terrible idea, and we should not do that, but I'm going to anyway. Then, let's go ahead and spread out our attacks absolutely evenly. Oh, you love to see value like this. Oh, beautiful. Kura will land the killing blow, and then Netzak will go for an Arc Rush, followed by a non-conductor, and finished off with none other than an AC transmission. After all, these hogs need cooling, and we are gonna give it to them. Little bit of damage. Meh. Now, here's the funny thing. Them giving us paralysis is actually nothing but a buff for us. But the reduced strength, on the other hand, is a little bit more of a problem. But does Netzak care? Absolutely not. Because when you flood a hog with the green, ouch! So he lived with 3 health, by the way. That's actually crazy. You know what? We're gonna go with Teardrop. And once again, we're gonna do it on Isabel. Again, you shouldn't do that. That's a terrible idea. But, as you can tell, we're taking this reception extremely seriously. So, it is what it is. Whoa. Now it's time for reception number 3 of the Hogs. Great googly moogly! It's John Hog! Oh my goodness, John Hog! Or not. Oh, it should have been John Pork. 430. That's stupid. 434 health, 60 stack resist, normal to everything. He's ranged. Speed dice +1, but he also had speed dice +2. Ooh, they can't overlap though, so I don't know which one he'll get. And talent, Hog Wall, 33 to 33. Okay. Crank it. Fat Joint, Hog Riding. The swine may cry. Flight of the swine. Gah. Shedding. And hair fling.
Hello, I am John Hog.
Hello, John Hog. We're here to kill you now.
You know what I like more than hogging, John Hog? It's called sinking into paralysis.
And you're about to see how that goes, because this is how it's done. So John Hog here is going to mass debuff us. However, do we care? Absolutely not, because John Hog is immediately staggered, and no doubt, immediately killed. Now, he is a tanky boy, so I expect that he's gonna survive for this turn. But as far as the next turn, oh no, no, no. There is no shot he's living this next turn. However, we did actually do significantly more damage than I was expecting. But unfortunately for John Hogg, we are... I'm trying to think of a hog pun. We're a hair away from hogging the victory. Oh, I got him. That sounded so cool, too. Either way, John Hogg absolutely is going to go down this turn. I do not see him surviving, especially because he wasn't able to land any of his debuffs. And according to John Hogg,
I shall not kneel.
that was fun. That was a fun reception. So obviously that one wasn't to be taken seriously, but I was like, you know what? We've been playing all the serious reception. Okay, actually, what am I saying? What am I saying? Do you hear the words that I'm speaking? That was the most serious reception that we've ever done in the history of modded Ruina. Absolute 10 out of hog, would hog again. Now, I'm just saying, there is actually another reception to this here hog mission. But I want you guys to play this mod and figure out what it is yourself. Actually, the moment you click on the mod, you'll know what it is. But either way, this mod right here needs more traction. But yeah, I thought that this mod would be a pretty nice icebreaker, considering it is effectively just one huge meme. So yeah, I thought it was going to be pretty fun, and it turns out it actually really was. And now we finish it off with the Mistletoe Laboratory with Wad Levo? That has to be how you say it, right? I don't see how else you could pronounce that. 545 health, 95 stagger resist, normal 2, slash and pierce physical, but nothing else. And shimmering, although seemingly a different type. Each scene gain maximum charge, clear all pages in hand and deck. Shimmering stuff. Pages added to hand can be copied from the opponent or have their effects and abilities modified in hand due to the Silver Elixir passive's effect. So effectively, he steals stuff from us. Good. Enlightenment. This guest will retreat at 335 HP to prepare for the third act. Speed 2+1 slash trash can. Okay, sure. Gain +2 speed dice slots. At emotion level 3 or higher, gain an additional one. The rightmost speed dice slot cannot be targeted, but destroys and removes the equipped page at combat start. Cannot overlap. Huh? Like your own or ours? Artifact Eyes of Legislation. During the reception, when any character gains a status ailment, if they already have another specific status ailment, an elemental reaction occurs based on the combination. In an elemental reaction, both of the two status ailments that triggered the reaction are spent until one of their values becomes 0. By the way, we're allowed to have 2 floors. I know that's random, but I thought I would point it out. And then a new status ailment corresponding to the combination is gained, equal to half of the total amount spent. The new status ailment activates its effects as many times as its value at each respective timing. Silver Elixir. Each scene gain 4 types of special pages that transform combat pages by spending charge. At emotion level 4 or higher, gain a special page that can copy an ally's passive. At act start, gain 10 charge. If it's the second act or later, additionally recreate the deck from the end of the previous act. By the way, my P's are probably popping quite a bit. I'm trying not to do that, but unfortunately there's not a lot I can do about it. To be fair though, it does seem like it, I have kind of adjusted the settings, so it's not that bad, but we'll see. Ace in the hole. When using a page with an original cost of 5 or more, restore 2 light. This effect is nullified if there are 2 or more pages with an original cost of 5 or more in your deck. Interesting. And self-defense technique. When losing a clash with an evade dice, reduce damage and stagger damage taken by dice's value. Really? That is interesting and also painful. Substitution. Target self on play, spend 2 charge to replace the page effect of the combat page you are equipped with. Exchange the first and second speed dice slots from the left where pages are equipped. Simultaneously exchange the third and fourth. I think I understand what that means, but we'll see. Target self or ally. On play, spend 4 charge to move the order of dice, excluding counter dice of the leftmost combat page equipped by the target if the speed dice slot where the page is equipped is from the first from the left, move it up by 1. If it's the second, move it down by 1. If it's the third, swap the top 2. If it's the fourth, swap the bottom 2. Yeah, I don't think I understand what this means. I'm reading it, I'm not comprehending it. Elimination. Target other than self. On play, spend 6 charge to copy the leftmost combat page equipped in the target's speed dice slot and add it to your hand. That I understand, including cost changes and dice variations. Oof. Even if it's an enemy combat page, you can copy pages that the library might possess. Addition. Oh boy. Maybe this should have been its own episode. Target ally. On play, spend 8 charge. Oh, it's a scroll. Don't scroll. Spend 8 charge to add 1 die excluding counter dice from the leftmost combat page equipped by an ally to the leftmost combat page you are equipped with. Which die to copy from the ally's page and where to insert it into your page is determined by the speed dice slot of the equipped page counted from the left. If it is in slot 1, the top die is selected. If slot 2, the second die from the top is selected. If it's 3, the third die from the top. If your page already has 3 or more dice, excluding counter dice, the added die will overwrite an existing die. Boy, I sure hope you guys aren't all singletons, because we got 3 acts. Matter reversion. Oh, it's nice and simple. I like this. Align. On hold, consume the rightmost single-use page in hand. Restore 1 light, gain 3 charge. On use, draw this page at the start of the next scene. Alignment. When this page is in hand, when you draw or add a page to your hand, that page enters the leftmost slot in your hand. And on hold, if a page is held in hand from the start of the scene until the end of the scene, its effect activates at the end of the scene. Right. Reconstruction. Alignment. On use, spend 2 charge to consume the rightmost page in hand. After 2 scenes, the consumed page is added back to hand with its original cost changes and dice variations. Activation. On use, spend all charge. Then, from the next scene, for 4 scenes, gain charge equal to half the spent charge at the start of the scene, minimum of 1. And imitation blades. On use, spend 4 charge to add 2 random combat pages from this library to hand. These pages become single use, their cost is reduced by 1, and they also gain +1 minimum and maximum. Counterfeit blade, excluding non-melee, cost 5 or higher, urban, plague, or lower, and exclusive. Huh? Okay. Oh god, they're all singleton. Alrighty, boy. Former She Association Stems page. 140 health, 70 stagger resist. Endured to physical pierce and stagger slash. Speed 3. She Association's swordsmanship electromagnetic. That's a mouthful. When spending charge with the combat page, inflict 1 paralysis to a random enemy next scene. High Speed Spinal Reflex. When clashing with an evade die, if the opponent's speed value is less than yours, reduce the opponent's dice power by the difference, 1 reduction per 2 difference, up to 4 reduction. So it's Meow's prowess. Kind of. Clockwork Driven. Increase the minimum value of speed dice slots by charge value by 4. Ooh. And Thunderbolt Engine. Activates every 4 scenes. For 1 scene, you can gain up to 40 charge, gain maximum charge, and gain 4 haste. Electromagnetic Polish N. On hold, spend 4 charge to inflict additional effect N to 1 page without page effects in hand. If Electromagnetic Polish S is in hand at combat start, this effect does not activate. On use, draw all Electromagnetic Polish S in the deck. On hit, restore 1 life. And this is the S. Inflict additional effect S to 1 page without page effects in hand if it's in the... On use, draw all Polish N in deck. On defense, restore 2 health. Interesting. So this is just the defensive version of it. Okay. Short Circuit. On hold, draw 2 pages. Gain 5 charge. This effect is then lost. On hit. Oh, interesting. So that's how you get a keywordless page. I see. Okay. On hit, restore 2 light and gain 4 charge. Energy Projection. Combat starts, spend 3 charge to reduce all your negative status effects by 5. If there were no negative status effects, gain 1 strength and endurance instead. Diamagnetism. Did I pronounce that correctly? I think I did. On clash win, gain 3 charge and 1 haste. Ferromagnetism. On hit, gain 7 charge and draw 1 page. Secret Technique, Startup. On use, spend 5 charge to reduce the cost of the page with the highest cost in hand by 3 resets after use. Okay. Code, Boundary of Death. When rolling dice for the first time with this page, activate, spend 4 charge to increase the dice value by 4 up to 10 times. On hit, reduce opponent's all dice power by natural dice roll value by 4. Well, it's 4 out of 4, so... you know? And Crack of Death. This page can be added to hand using and consuming all 3 module pages. On draw, generate 3 module pages, and this page is consumed. After this effect activates after using this page. On use from the next scene, for 3 scenes, speed dice slot plus 2. At the end of the scene, restore 2 light and draw 2 pages. Okay. Former Zwei Association. God dang, and there's 3 acts? This is a lot. 165 health, 85 stagger resist, endured to physical and stagger, blunt, speed dice plus 3. Zwei Association's tactics. Apply on clash win, inflict 1 sinking. You just can't get away from sinking anymore. What is it? Why are people going insane for sinking all of a sudden? Or do I just happen to be finding every single reception that has sinking as a keyword now? And they're all different. There are like 7 different types of sinking that we've seen within the past 10 episodes. This is crazy. I guess everyone is like, you know what? That's a pretty cool effect. I can make it better. And they all have that thought. Inflict 1 sinking next scene to all defensive dice on the to all defensive dice. So it's some kind of feeble? Interesting. Apply on hit, inflict 1 bound next scene to all offensive dice on the second page used. What? Okay, so either bound is a brand new effect, or it's a translation error, and instead of sinking and bound, they mean feeble and disarm. I'm gonna guess that it's a new effect. Pressure buildup. On Clash win with a block dice, gain 1 pressure effect. On Clash lose, gain 2 pressure effects, max of 3. Pressure increases the maximum value of offensive dice by its value and decreases by 1 for every 2 offensive dice rolled. An unbreakable shield. When losing a clash with a block dice, reduce damage and stagger damage taken by 1 to 3. Tough guy. At axe start, duplicate 2 pages with the lowest rarity and the light restore keyword in your deck. Maximum pages in hand +1. Huh. Okay. Thermal conversion. On use, if 4 or more light was spent, restore 1 light. If 4 or fewer pages are in hand, draw 1 page. If 4 or more light was spent, minimum value +1. If 4 or fewer pages were in hand, minimum value +1 again. Pressurized flow. On hold, change this page to pressurized flow 2. On use, restore 2 light. And on hit, inflict 1 sinking. Next scene. When hit, take X stagger damage and have the stack. Okay, so it's the Limbus sinking. Gotcha. Pressurized flow 2. On hold, change this to pressurized flow 3. On draw, return this page to pressurized flow 1. On use, draw 1 page. And also on hit, inflict 2 sinking. Next scene. Chiller unit. On use, discard 1 page with the lowest current cost, draw 1 page. If the remainder, when dividing the discarded pages or drawn pages cost by 2, is 1 to 0, gain 1 strength and endurance next scene, and also on hit, inflict 2 sinking. Pressurized flow 3. On hold, this page's cost is increased by 1. On draw, return this to pressurized flow 1. On use, each time the current cost exceeds 3, offensive dice's minimum and maximum values are increased by 3. 10 to 10 on hit, inflict 10 sinking. Bound, damage reduction, next scene equal to this page's cost. Oof. Frosty defense grid. On use, draw 3 pages which only have defensive dice. Iceberg. Cost reduced by the number of defensive dice. On hold, at the end of combat, add any remaining defensive dice before this page's offensive dice. Prioritize those with higher maximum value up to 3 total. On draw, added defensive dice are consumed. On hit, inflict endurance to all allies next scene equal to the number of this page's defensive dice. Boy, I feel like we're playing Limbus right now. It just keeps going. Cryonics. If the opponent is staggered by this page's defensive dice, increase this page's offensive dice power by the stagger damage from that counter. 16 to 19, counter stagger damage increases by the opponent's offensive dice value. Huh? Counter stagger damage increases by the opponent's offensive die value. Okay, so if we have like 17 extra power, it does 17 extra stagger damage. Okay. And diver down. Oh, poor guy. He's in the middle of the ocean. One of the worst things that you can imagine. This page is consumed after use and returns to hand after 3 scenes. On use. From the next scene for 2 scenes, gain the effect at the end of the scene, add a block die 4 to 8 on Clash win, inflict 2 sinking next scene, to combat pages in hand with 2 or fewer original die. Excluding counter dice, added dice are consumed after page use. On Clash win, inflict 3 sinking next scene. And finally, these two have the exact same deck. Mistletoe Lab Stem. Ineffective to physical slash, and that's it. Stickiness. The first time you lose a clash with an offensive dice in a page, have the maximum value of the opponent's next offensive dice. Furthermore, if your die is destroyed, destroy the opponent's next offensive dice. Oof. Chemical mixing. When inflicting a different status ailment than the previously inflicted one, increase its value by 1. Self-defense technique. When losing a clash with an evade die, reduce damage and stagger Okay, so that's the same as Wad Levo. And Ace in the Hole. Okay. Pump Action, and he has 3 of those. On hold, reduce this page's cost by 1. On use, restore 2 light, increase this page's cost by 1, and randomly change the type of this page's offensive dice. On hit, inflict 2 random negative status effects next scene. Double Refill. On use, add Eject to hand, and this page is consumed. Eject. On draw, all offensive dice gain an on-hit effect. I had to make sure I was recording because I was not reading all this again. I would have if I wasn't recording. I've done it plenty of times, but... all offensive dice gain an on-hit effect to inflict a random negative status effect. On use, add Refill to hand, and this page is consumed. And it can inflict burn, bleed, paralysis, sinking, or rupture. I assume Limbus rupture. Repel. On use, draw 2 pages. Oh, it's also a rapid melee. You don't see many of those. No entry. On Clash Lose, add +2 power to the next die. Damage and stagger damage received are reduced by this dice's value, and target's current die cannot be recycled as a counter die. What the... Danger, do not touch. On hit, inflict 3 random status effects. And it has a whopping 5 dice. Okay. I'm gonna start with Malchus' floor, and then we're going straight to Aeon's floor. I'm not taking it easy on this one. Alright, mister. You think your fancy words and complex and intricate, well-thought-out mechanics is gonna stop me? Then you're thoroughly mistaken. This head? Tough as a rock. Here we go. Ow. Combusting Courage, protecting us from a lot of burn that might potentially go through. Oof. Not winning very many clashes for ourselves just yet, but proximity does end up going through, which is going to give us a little bit of light as well as inflict a bit of burn. I'm definitely not used to the nerfed shockwave yet, I gotta be honest. Rekindled Strike coming down, and our counter dice actually protecting us relatively well. Recapture the area doesn't really do as well as it would. Yeah, it didn't do as well as you might have expected. Oh, hiccups. Turn 2. So, our goal this turn, spread as much burn as humanly possible. Even though they can technically reduce it and outright clear it, I still want them to burn. By the way, pressure. Maximum value of offensive dice increases by 2. Pretty simple. She win. Okay, a little bit of value there. Most importantly, we are not going to be dying to burn this turn. That's not to say it won't happen, but it'll be reduced. Oof. Fiery Waltz, unfortunately, losing both of those clash, despite the fact that I thought it would have gone pretty well. Dave also drawing even on 2 of the clashes, despite them looking pretty good. But Trash Disposal always finds its mark. Well, either way, she win. That way we're all taking pretty reduced burn damage, and with an extreme nuke, one of the stems is down. Now, here's what we're thinking.
Who's gonna tell him? They never saw this one coming.
Yeah, you might have a lot of pressure. You might even have a lot of sinking. But do you have the raw power that is burn? We're actually losing quite a few clashes, despite it seeming like we should be in advantage. So, a little bit unfortunate, but Fiery Waltz spreading the burn, and there's no reducing that. Well, Despairing, unfortunately, didn't quite work out for us, but we are now Blade unlocked. And Chi Wen is also going to reduce the amount of burn damage that we take. Sweep the back streets, healing Dave, relatively high health. And we almost killed 2 with a single hit. Ashes to ashes. Malchus gets even stronger. By the way, Overloaded activates effects during combat and disappears at the end of the scene. When rolling dice, you take 2 times 2 stagger damage, and stagger damage dealt to the opponent is reduced by 2 times 2. Burning. Activates effect when clashing with the combat page and consumes half of its value. Applies burn 1 to both self and opponent. Can trigger elemental reactions related to burn other than burning. Right, like vaporize? Activates effects upon taking damage and consumes all stacks. Increases damage and stagger damage taken from all attacks by 3 times 2. If under the effect of artifact Aquamarine Sap passive, instead grants protection 2 and stagger protection 2 to a random enemy. Right. And then Melt. Activates page when clashing. Activates increases power of a random opponent's die by 2 1 times. Oh! Boy, that one sucks. By the way, I've noticed he's never used a page in this, so in fact, it destroys his, not ours. Also, he's using Blessing of the Sacred Flame, which, buddy, I don't think that's gonna go well for you. And let me show you why. Well, it mostly went well. Oof. Well, Gregory of Dallas gets staggered to the boundary of death. Now, he runs at 335 health, and he has 51 burn. So, buddy, you're on a time limit. Oh, but he does have 9 burn protection because he used our own page. Fair. Okay, so sweep the back streets. He's still gonna take quite a bit of damage, about 50 something. Oh, up to 100 burn, goodness. Malchus counter dice also working extraordinarily well, despairingly. Stigmatize.
As vice director, I cannot abandon the director. Everyone understands, right? All right, see you later.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Before they run.
Now it's time for Malfi. 640 health, 110 stagger resist, endured to stagger pierce and stagger blunt. Enlightenment. This guest will retreat at 400 HP to prepare for the third act. Speed 3 artifact. Oh, there it is. Aquamarine Sap. During the reception, apply the following effects to all characters. Immune to damage from burn, bleed, and fairy. Well, that sucks. At the start of the scene, recover all enemies' HP by their burn count by 2. Now, when you say enemies, is that us or is that you? Because if it's us, Kelana is now immortal. If it's you, that's a problem. Big problem. Characters under the effects of Hugging Fire, Sitting on Brushwood passive also recover their stagger resistance by their burn count by 4. When rolling an offensive dice, there is a bleed count times 25% chance to inflict 1 protection to a random enemy next scene. If the chance exceeds 100%, activate this effect again for every 100% exceeded. For example, 250% chance inflicts protection twice at 100% chance each and once at a 50% chance. Fairy possesses both the burn HP recovery effect and the bleed protection infliction effect, allowing them to activate even with defensive dice. Great Wood Pact. At combat start, if all allies, including self, are equipped with only with paperback or hardcover rarity combat pages, inflict paperback page count by 5 stagger protection and haste, and hardcover page count by 5 protection and endurance to all. Oh, whoa, that's cool. At act start, add wish pages to unique ego to all allies excluding self. If all allies use wish pages targeting this character within one scene, this character enters the Heavenly Desire state for 3 scenes starting from the next scene. Heavenly Desire. Dice hit when winning clashes with defensive dice. Opponents targeting this character receive only half the power effect. The above effect is also activated for Object d'Art and special combat pages, in addition to paperback and limited rarity combat pages, in addition to hardcover. Overflowing Bloom. During the reception, when enemies recover HP, they gain 1 burn and 1 bleed. Pristine Devotion. If you recover 2 or more HP while using a combat page, recover target's HP by 1. Oof. That sucks for Dave. You and other allies can target each other, but you do not deal or receive damage or stagger damage from allied attacks or counters. Why would you ever do that? First Aid. On hit with an attack, recover 2 HP and recover 1 stagger resistance. Okay. Okay. I mean, the one situation I could see that working is like Marcos Jr., where he hits people and all allies recover health. I mean, that could be nice, I guess. Okay. Soon to Bud. No. This page's on hold effect activates even if it's not in hand at the start of the scene. On hold or on draw, cost becomes original cost plus light spent during the scene by 2. On use, restore 2 light and draw 1 page. Dripping Sap. It is just pure defensive. Hardened Amber. Doesn't do much of anything. Fist Bump. Start a clash if the opponent is using the same page. All clash results with this page become draw. On clash draw, restore 1 light and recover 3 HP for each other. On clash draw 1 page, recover 3 stagger resist for each other. That's what the passive is for. Okay, asked and answered. Unified Scrum. On play, if the target is an ally, add other targetable allies to the target list. Combat start when the target is the same page as this page. When the target is the same page as this page. At the end of the scene, make the ally with that page restore 1 light and draw 1 page. So does that mean just targeting each other with it, or is this targeting the same person that someone else is targeting? I don't know. And so it falls. This page's on hold effect activates even if it's not on hand. Cost becomes original cost minus light spent during the scene by 2. On use, restore 2 light, draw 1 page. Crystal Garden. On clash, win, inflict 2 bleed next scene. On hit, inflict 1 protection and stagger protection to all allies, including self, next scene. On hit, inflict 1 protection and 1 stagger protection to all allies, including self, next scene. Medicine Sherbert. On hit, inflict 3 burn to all enemies this scene. On clash, win, recover 2 HP and stagger resist for all allies, including self, then do it again. Oh boy. Complete recovery. At the end of the scene, if at least 1 counter dice of this page remains, at the start of the next scene, recover 15 HP and stagger resist for all allies, including self, remove all negative status effects, and gain immune to all negative status effects until the end of the scene. On clash, lose. Opponent's dice. Next dice power -3 up to 3 times. Oof. Former Liu Association, oh my goodness. Fruit. Endured to both types of peers. Enlightenment, oh, he retreats, okay. At the start of the scene, apply on hit, inflict 1 burn to a random offensive die without an effect. Perpetually at war. Counter dice are not used against the opponent's one-sided attacks, but are used with your own combat pages. Oh, that's weird. Unstoppable. If you hit 3 or more times with a single combat page, gain 1 strength next scene, up to once per scene. Passion Overload 1. On hit, inflict 2 burn the scene, and on use, add 2 to hand. Kindling. On hold, next scene, inflict 1 burn to self and burn value inflicted by combat pages +1. This effect is then lost. On draw, regain the loss effect. On hit, if the page's effect is not lost, inflict 1 burn up to twice. Wildfire Wind. Combat start, inflict 1 burn to all characters next scene. On hit, inflict 1 burn to 3 random characters next scene. On hit, do it again. Heated Throbbing. Restore light equal to your emotion level. Fear Not. On use, recover stagger resistance for 3 allies, including yourself, with the lowest stagger resistance by 3 times your emotion level. Oh, wow, that sounds good. On Clash Win, inflict on hit, inflict 1 burn to the next dice, and on Clash Win, recycle this die up to twice. Infernal Dragon Saber! On attack hit, gain a random Liu association passive next scene, consumed before the start of 2 scenes later. Huh? On Clash Win, add +2 power to the next die, and a counter dice with inflict 1 burn on hit. Impasse Conqueror. On use, types of offensive dice on this page change to the types the target is weakest to. On Clash Win, your next offensive dice power -3 up to 3 times, and activate 1 effect based on your status. There's also a whole lot of passives, but oh well. Eruption. On use, draw 2 pages, gain 1 strength next scene for each page with the keyword burn drawn. On hit, inflict 2 burn this scene, and a counter die with 1 inflict burn this scene. And Hana Fruit. When using slash, pierce, blunt, and defensive dice for the first time in a scene, apply +1 power on hit. No, that's it. It's full stop there. Apply +1 power. Cool. On hit or Clash Win, recover 2 HP and inflict 1 bleed to opponent next scene. 2 forms. Heart. Can switch between 2 states, artery and vein. In artery state, when inflicting bleed with a combat page, deal 1 to 2 damage to all allies, including self, who currently have 50 or more HP. Instead, there is a 100/ total number of allies, including self, times number of allies taking damage, % chance to double bleed value inflicted. In Vein state, when inflicting bleed with a combat page, recover 1 to 2 HP for all allies, including self. This recovery amount is affected by effects that increase or decrease the bleed value inflicted by combat pages, excluding this passive. Instead, the bleed value inflicted is multiplied by 0, which means it is 0, because you can't multiply by 0. Order! That's one thing I do know. At start act, return all pages in hand to deck, then draw 1 page, each with a cost of 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so unlimited draw, basically? That sounds crazy. Triple Swagger. On hold, at the start of the next scene, draw all Swagger. In the deck, on use, restore 1 light. Okay. Cannon Snout. Combat start, recover 1 HP when taking damage during the scene. On hit, inflict 1 bleed. Mantle Arm. After use, draw 1 page for every 6 HP recovered while using this page, up to 3 pages. On hit, recover 3 HP up to twice. Pincer Leg. On use, take 15 damage to self. This page's offensive dice power +3. After use, if this page's attacks hits 2 or more times, draw 1 page and recover 10 HP. On hit, inflict 2 bleed, and then do it again. Unknown name, who knows what that says? Enemy only ability. On use, if HP is 40% or more, take 8 damage and increase all dice's maximum value by 3. If HP is 60% or less, recover 8 HP and increase the minimum value by 3. So if you're within 40 to 60, it gets both. Otherwise, it's just 1. On hit, inflict 2 bleed, and then inflict 1. All trigrams formation. When in belonging to Yang, Artery Yang, Tai Yang, Zhao Yin, Jian Ri, Tai Kan state, and belonging to Yin, that state, activate effects corresponding to each. On hit, inflict 1 bleed this scene, next scene, and 2 scenes after. Wow, alright. Prediction Flood. It does some stuff. Mistletoe Lab Fruit. At act start, give a fist bump page to all allies who do not have one. Right. Adamant Body. When losing a clash with an offensive dice, if the damage taken is 2 or less, recycle your die up to the... What? Recycle your die up to 3 times per scene. Boy, that doesn't seem OP at all. Belief in belief. Now, granted, they do have to hit you with, like, baby numbers, which we might. Belief in belief. At start of clash, restore 1 light. At start of one-sided attack, spend 1 light. Both effects can activate up to 2 times per scene. You have Pristine Devotion and First Aid. Double Fist Bump, we saw what that does. Panacea! On hold, restore 1 light and discard this page. Huh? Combat start, gain 1 protection and 1 stagger protection, so don't use it and you get buffed. Smelling Salts. On hold, if staggered, remove stagger and recover 25 stagger resistance. This effect is then lost, so don't use that one either. Unified Scrum, we saw that. Weakened Toxins. Immune to received negative status effects next scene. On Clash Win, inflict 1 of all status effects that are immune due to Weakened Toxins effect to the opponent. On hit, inflict 1 of all status effects that are immune due to Weakened Toxins effects to the opponent. So, if you hit him with a bunch of fairy, he inflicts it to you next scene? Gifted Body. While using this page, damage and stagger damage received are reduced by the dice value, and negative status effects are not inflicted. I've got your back. Enemy only ability. If there is a page targeting an ally with a mass attack page, additionally clash with one of them. On Clash Win, inflict 1 feeble and disarm. Okay. Well, we're determined. So what we're gonna do, description not found. Well, he has some kind of effect. We're gonna focus down the buddy bros. Seems like a good idea. Blessing of the Sacred Flame. Trash disposal. Bum, 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 bum. Ooh, we also got a damage proc in there, which basically offsets all the healing that he would have gotten. Our counter dice, unfortunately, not doing a whole lot of anything, but Dave's counter dice, doing quite well. Despairingly stigmatize. Ow. Dies Ore. Despairingly stigmatize. Okay, so they're not immune this turn, but they might be next turn. We do get hit by the crystal. Ouch. He used smelling salts. Wait a minute, that means that that one's not going to be immune. You silly Billy, you're not supposed to do that. We do go for a multi-slash, and it does not get us a stagger, but that's fine. We have so much burn that honestly, they might even just die, because they're not immune yet. Ooh, sweep the back streets though. On Dave, make sure. Right, they don't take burn. Right. Yeah, there is that. I want AoE. Icarus is... Actually, we don't want AoE for this fight. We'll take Icarus's flight for later. I'm gonna reroll. I'm gonna reroll again. And again. Precarious Mind. We'll do And Then Is Heard No More. We'll also take Inconsolable Grief. Because we can. Oh my god. Wow, that sure was a lot of... Kelana is full health. Yeah, so that whole heal based on your burn thing. Oh my god, nobody's gonna die in this fight. Nobody is gonna die! Wait a minute, we literally can't kill anybody. Oh no. Well, let's see how you live this one, tough guy. Icarus's flight. That's pretty good damage. We might be able to take out one of the dude bros. He is not going to be able to stop the amount of damage that we're about to dish out, especially because we have mass attack pages on our side. One of the dude bros does go down. Fiery Waltz to spread a little bit of burn. Dude Bro up top, I thought was immune, but apparently he's not. We do manage to take him out before he's able to heal anything, though. Dwindling Twilight does get his blade unlocked on Malkuth. You take a ton of self-damage. I really like that, that kickbox effect that Hana Fruit has. Okay, note to self. It's focus fire or nobody dies. No exceptions. If we do not... focus fire. That wasn't on purpose. But either way, if we don't do that, nobody dies. So therefore, let's focus our fire, shall we? We're gonna go for Ignited Bravery. Then we go for Blazing Strike. That should be enough to take her out. Which one was gonna run? The Liu guy. Okay, let's go Waned Evertide. We're gonna go for Lean Bloody Wings. Recapture the area. Then we're gonna go Will of the Prescript. I would go for Sweep them all, but we have yet to actually use Trash Disposal, so let's hope Persistence is enough. And then Kelana, do what you're gonna do. Not bad options. Pulao! AoE damage. Yazi! Big AoE damage. Mouth is taking actually no damage. I didn't notice she had 9 protection. Well, a lot of our attacks are about to go to waste then, huh? But we did actually use up all of her counter dice, which means she's not going to gain the immunity effect, so there is that. Fervent Prayer going down on Mr. Liu, and he decides to run away. She win. Not that we need the burn protection, but it is still theoretically nice. Ignited Bravery going down on her. Shockwave giving her a stagger, which actually makes taking her down a lot easier next turn. Not this turn, because she's back to full health, 640. Okay. Let's go Fiery Waltz, and then Brace Up. That'll give us some light as well as some draw. Then we go for Talte. Or is that... yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Then we go for... Nah, we can't really mix it up. You know what? Let's go for Shockwave. Then we're also gonna go for Brace Up. Miss Malkuth. Let's go for Incinerated Impact. And Rekindled Strike. Then, Mr. Dave with Trash Disposal finally coming online. Yes, she has 9 protection, but oh well. Lean Bloody Wings. Then we go for Sweep the Back Streets, and finally, a Multi-Slash. And then, Kelana, do what you're gonna do. I have a feeling you're using the 99 burn page.
A fine decision.
Yes, she is. Donk. A bink. I don't know how much damage that did, but oh well. Trash Disposal immediately dropping its combo, so we get literally no effect at all from it. We do take quite a bit of one-sided attacks. Dave getting the damage proc, which is all the damage he's currently doing. We only need to do 100 more damage, and we are spreading the burn all over. But that 9 protection is really hamstringing us. We are currently dealing a whopping 0 damage with most of our attacks. She is gonna take... It's close. If she actually takes the burn damage, it would have set her over. But because she doesn't, she now has 11 protection. Oh. Okay. Boy, that sucks. That really sucks. All that, and then she just kind of shrugs it off. He has 9 protection too! Oh my god, and now she's using complete recovery? Oh, that sucks. Alright, let's just play the recovery game this turn then. Oh boy. You know what? Maybe them being immune to burn is actually a blessing in disguise. I didn't consider this, but you know what? Them being immune to burn means that they're receiving far less healing. Huh. I see. You know what? On second thought, you go ahead and be as immune as you want. She has 15 protection. She has 15 protection. She has 15. We're literally not gonna do damage. I've got the most Giga Brain plan you've ever seen. So we have her staggered. She has 22 protection. But watch this. You ready for this? I call this the Shadow Special. Well, would you look at that? She doesn't appear to have any protection this scene.
What an absolute shame for you. You must be feeling so terribly bad. Well,
Let me tell you just what I've got cooked up for you. By the way, actually perfect abilities being used from everybody, so I'm just gonna let it roll. Well, without all that pesky protection, it looks like you are going to die. Sweep. Oh my god, because we skipped last turn, that's why sweep them all didn't count, even though the turn before that we used trash disposal. Oh, well, that's my bad. That's just that's me forgetting mechanics. Come on, boys. Come on, boys and girls. Do as much damage as physically possible. There is no protection on the field. We're about to get a stagger. That means she's not going to be able to do anything. Good. Oh, Dave. Perfect. Perfect. Forced her to run. We have to do that again, though. No. They're all going to be immune to burn again. Oh my god, this is never gonna end. We actually need them to kill us. I'm suddenly gone? Wait, why are their names suddenly, but what? They were just working. Okay, I'm not even gonna question that. Hey look, there's a new guy. So many new passives to read. 190 health, 130 stagger resist, endure to both types of slash, on clash win, inflict 1 rupture, next scene. Grasping human body. When clashing with an opponent who has status ailments, reduce the minimum value of all their dice by 1. If the opponent has 3 or more types of status ailments, additionally reduce the maximum value of all their dice by 1. Information adjustment. During clash, your offensive dice deal -2 damage and opponent's offensive dice power is -1. During a one-sided attack, all your dice power is -2, and your last offensive dice is recycled once. Case closed. When clashing with the third page used, if you did not lose a clash from start of clash until end of clash, draw 1 page. Sagacity. Sagacity? Restore 1 light on hit, inflict 1 rupture, which is when hit, take X damage and half the stack. Okay, it's rupture. It's rupture. Negation. Reduce power of target's current defensive die by 2 on clash lose up to twice, inflict 2 rupture, next scene. I'm so curious to see what their health is at, because if they're back to like full health, oh my goodness. Reasoning. On use, restore 2 light, draw 1 page with only 0 cost. On hit, inflict 1 rupture, next scene. Intuition. On use, inflict 3 rupture to self, restore 3 light, and this page's all offensive dice power +2. On clash win, inflict 1 rupture, next scene. Eludication. On use, draw 1 page. On clash win, add +1 power to the next die. On clash win, inflict 1 rupture, next scene. Debate. On play, reduce this page's cost by number of opponent's negative status effect types by 3, or value of opponent's most common negative status effect by 5, calculated by the larger effect. On hit, inflict 3 rupture next scene and 2 scenes after. On hit, opponent's offensive dice power of a random type is reduced by 1 to 2 next scene. Enemy ability only. On play, randomly gain a die, not exceeding the sum of its original minimum maximum values. On use, draw 1 page. Structuration. Each time you win a clash, this page is all dice power +1. On clash win, on hit, inflict 2 rupture to the next die, and the final one recycles if it hits. Conclusion. This page is consumed after use and returns to hand after 5 scenes. On use from the next scene for 3 scenes, gain the effect. On clash win, add a slash die 1 to 1 to the end of the combat page up to 1. Increases the added effects minimum and maximum values by 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3 of the opponents. Clash, lost, dies, minimum and maximum value. Inflict on hit, inflict 1 rupture next scene to the added die. On hit, inflict 3 rupture next scene. I hate that I cannot control the scroll. When it scrolls like that, I completely get thrown off of where I'm reading from. By the way, we're not taking Malkuth. We'll take her if we lose. I am not dealing with 5 dudes who are all immune to burn. Forget it. All right, here we go. So, I'm kind of focus firing fruit because we just need to get people out of the game. So, here we go. Knowledge overflow. Yeah, we're also gonna leave what's-her-name for absolute last because her passive with gaining protection, it's a little bit of a problem. As we saw, it won't be as bad now, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be bad at all. Wheels does end up helping us out quite a bit. Mook Workshop, just so we can stack that damage. Memories of a Star to get all the buffs, and our counter dice keep us relatively safe, just as Angelica's does for her. Knowledge acquisition coming down, but we do take a tiny bit of damage from Crystal Garden. Sally decides to lower the cost of all her pages for a couple turns at least. Crystal Ulterior getting through all of those dice, and because we haven't inflicted even a lick of burn, they aren't going to be healing. With Mr. Rolando getting 2 strength for next scene, and Sally stacking up both of her Clash of Blades. So here's the thing. We're going for performance on Carmen. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know what's gonna happen. Now we go for musical notes, which I don't remember being a 2, but oh well. I'm gonna go for Wrist Cutter for obvious reasons. Then we go for Guilt. And we're gonna go ahead and do that on Book Hunter. Yeah, Remorse. Why not? We can make use out of that. Here we go. The time. Oh, those workshop weapons. They're all astonishingly high quality. I'm so envious. Completely copying someone else's technology and technique is still in poor taste, isn't it? Really? There's unique dialogue for stealing Roland stuff. Huh, how about that? Holy moly, these turns take so long to math out, but oh well. Here we go. And yes, I am manifesting our ego. Begin! Wrist Cutter. Well, it hits most of them, that's good enough for me. Manifest ego coming down on Carmen because we are going full claw. Crystal Ulterior motion is going to be a little bit debuffed but with our increased damage. Oh yes, hurts, doesn't it? Fire Ventures with me does do a little bit of damage, but we do reduce its total power with Mr. Rolando. Divinatory Impact isn't going to work with these first dice, but the other 2 are going to work. Memories of a Star, easily getting us just what we want. Okay, Wheels Industry countering Alias. We took a ton of damage from that counter dice from Mouth. Okay, Regenerator is going to heal us up a little bit, though. Clash of Blades getting stacked up even further. Zelkova Workshop coming down on Angelica and getting us a stagger. Esther. 28 flat damage. No avoiding that one. Our counter dice, unfortunately, not quite working, but we go for Remorse. Actually does pretty good. And it debuffs them quite a lot as well. And with a Broken Grail, one of our enemies falls. We can just give this to Sally? Are you for real? Yoink? What? We just get a free tier 3? Oh my goodness. However, she is uncontrollable for this scene. However, she is going for stuff that's totally fine with me. Then let us begin once again. Behold, the knowledge of Soji. It even gives us a little bit of hoplite. which basically just empowers us based on our total protection. That's a TLDR of it.
Ulterior logic.
Coming down from Roland, dealing quite a bit of damage. Dimensional Gloves, giving us another Atelier Logic.
Flashing claw.
Hammer Retaliate.
Flashing dual blades. Degraded expiration. Beautiful.
And with thought of our counter dice, Sally is all but completely safe, except for that one at least. Alix Workshop, reducing all of your power. Clash of Blades getting stacked up even further, even though the first one doesn't really work out. Oof, and we do take a fair bit of damage, all things considered. Broken Grail being used again, but it's not going to give us an ego page or make us uncontrollable this time, because we've already used it. A little bit of one-sided damage coming down on Mouth, and Sally takes out the 7 Fixer. Okay, regular Ranga Workshop coming down from Mr. Rolando and the Pianist on Carmen. Then we go for Aspiration.
Oh yeah. You guys are so dead.
So we can go for
Argalia Furioso.
and I think I'm going to. And in order to go for
Cascada Luminosa.
we need a whole lot of charge, but I'm inclined to build that up.
Begin anew.
Hammer Retaliate.
Yes. Give me the power that I seek.
We do also reduce his costs a little bit, but most importantly, Argalia Furioso with 8 music discs means 80% more damage.
Your feeble protection is not nearly enough.
34, we're almost there. Okay, we're also dealing an absolute incredible amount of damage this turn. Crystal Ulterior from Mr. Roland is also going to get quite a bit of flat damage, which works nicely considering how much protection they truly have. Double Clash of Blades, just so we're all nice and statted up. Knowledge Acquisition almost getting through. Ooh, our black dice actually being put to really good use there. Okay, a little bit of light draw there. Good luck. Oh yes. Good luck trying to hit Sally. Mook Workshop, taking down Liu Fruit. So, because I can, I'm gonna go for Ashen Bond, and then go for Dark Bond. Then we go for Zelkova Workshop and Aspiration. Then over here, we go for Innamorato, and we let Sally handle the Wrist Cutter. Then we can't really do too much else. Is there any other way that we can get? We could go for Curtain Skull. Good enough for me. Behold!
Strength.
Now, let's just purge that pesky protection you have, shall we?
You won't be needing it where you're going.
Ow. Unfortunately, quite a bit of friendly fire being done there, but that's okay. You know what? I don't get to do this often. Oh, you're dead to burn, aren't you? Dang it! We almost got to use Cascade. Oh, we almost got to use Luminosa. No! It's always stopped by something. God. Ah! But with that, I believe that's gonna do it for this episode of The Library of Ruina. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And by the way, despite me complaining about the amount of passives and reading and everything, that still is quite a unique reception. It adds a bunch of new status effects, a bunch of very unique passives, some of which seem a little bit strong if placed in against the wrong hands even. Overall, they're not like the most powerful decks to go against in the world, but if you have specific builds, which as you saw, it can get a little out of hand. I think being able to get upwards of 22 protection per turn and complete an utter status immunity, that counters a lot of builds. A lot of builds. But there is ways to purge it, as we saw with the Floor of General Works. Flat damage procs will always go through it, so Decay Ampules, Dave's percent chance to deal like 10 or 15 damage. There's ways around it. There is also the mechanics of, based on your bleed chance, you have a chance to give them protection, but, I mean, yeah, no. But either way, it is a very unique reception, and I am very glad that we played it, but whoo-wee! That could have been split into 2 receptions. Maybe even 3. By the way, those hiccups are still around. Yeah, I think stuffing all of that into 1 reception was perhaps a little much. I think 2 would have been fine, but that's just me. I know there's quite a few people who like stuff like that. Like, I'm pretty sure if there was a 5-act reception with all singleton decks and unique passives, there would be some people who are all over that. And while I think that would also be a pretty good thing, reading it out loud is a handful. That's honestly my biggest flaw about it, but meh. So either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I will see you
In the next one.
Bye.